Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's Diana Minotti with Diana Minotti Fine Art Antiques and Collectibles. Our show is a day in the life of an estate appraiser and liquidator called Diana's Treasures. And my co host is my husband, Perry Mitrano, right here.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. And we have a very special guest, Jose Rosa, with the Veterans Museum and Educational Center in Daytona Beach.
So before we get to Jose, let me elaborate on where we are, where we're located, and so our website is www.diana fineart.com, and there you can find all of our estate sales that are coming up, and Diana's credentials, and we are licensed auctioneers as well, and we are located at 15 Palm Harbor Village Way, right here in Palm Coast, Florida. That's Flagler County, Florida, 32137. So if you're coming down on 95, you could get right off the exit. We're just a mile or so.
The water tower exit.
The water tower exit, the infamous water tower exit. And if you come down, you can visit us. We're north of on Old Kings Road, off of Old Kings Road. And yes, we do have a really great person here today, someone dedicated to veterans. I was able to go and visit the museum that he curates with a bunch of volunteers. Two of the volunteers that I met there, one guy was 92, and boy, oh boy, what a nice man. And another fellow was in his late 80s. Both of them super veterans. And again, this is after Memorial Day. Memorial Day is dedicated to all of those who I guess lost their lives in all the wars that we've had here in America, and that goes back from day one, right from the Revolutionary period up to every day, and Veterans Day is a different day, which we celebrate all the veterans. So tell us, your museum in Daytona Beach of all places. When I walked in the door, I could not believe what I saw, and one of the first things that I witnessed was the Revolutionary period and how well you displayed that, and then it went all the way up to the most current. So Jose, tell us about yourself, who you are, and what your museum's about.
Good morning, Perry, and thank you for visiting my museum and saying such nice words.
And thank you
it.
for your service.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for saying that. Well, my name is Jose Rosa. I am a Vietnam veteran. I also served in the Afghanistan war, and I was recruited or drafted into the Vietnam War at the age of 17, believe it or not. And I very proudly served, as everyone probably remembers, when the Vietnam veterans came back home. They were not welcomed back home, which was a very sad thing. But right now, our country has changed, and they're appreciating the veterans for what they do and what they are. We didn't want to go fight, but we did when we were called upon. Coming back, I tried to serve the veteran community for the past 25 years in the Daytona Beach area. I got involved to help veterans. I was inducted into the Veterans Hall of Fame in 2018 by Governor Scott. Thank you. And I became a VFW commander in Port Orange, and then I became a district commander. Once I was done with that, then I took over the museum about 6 years ago, and gone through a few transitions, but finally the city of Daytona gave us an old library, and we refurbished it, and that is the museum that you went to.
Well, it's an amazing place, Diana. I have to take you there. I mean, it's just an unbelievable thing to see.
I missed it. I wasn't well. I'm sorry I missed it.
I was able to see my cousin Johnny Tino, who was killed in Vietnam, and I didn't even know they had the book. I went in. I was just telling the fellows that were there. And I said, the volunteers, and I said, yeah, my cousin was killed in Vietnam. And the guy pointed, he says, we have the book with all the names in it. You can go find them. And lo and behold, I did. So
it must have been very moving.
The whole experience was very moving. I mean, they had a table with the absent soldier, right? The dinner table. Right?
Yes, we have the POW MIA chair set up in the middle of the display floor, our main display floor.
If you understand one thing, I guess when you go into the military, you go in to protect our country and all that we live for. But when you go to that museum and you see what it is and what they work with to fight to keep us safe, I have to tell you. So when we get into the show and tell, we got some really interesting stuff here. You saw me quickly show a Vietnam era helmet, but so tell us a little bit more. Tell us about your volunteers, and why don't you tell us about the founder of the museum?
Okay. Well, the founder of the museum was a gentleman who I also helped get um,
Yeah, let me help you.
into the Veterans Hall of Fame. His name was John Brinkley. He's a World War II veteran, a very good man. He had a vision to start a museum. Started in Ormond Beach in a small room in their city hall. Then he started asking for artifacts and memorabilia stuff. Got so much of it that he had to move out of there. Gentleman by the name of Dr. Wubba had a building on Beach Street, in the TikTok building, and he provided us the second floor. Well, when he needed his second floor back, we moved to the DAV building in Holly Hill, kind of out of the way. It was on 8th Street. And so I went to the city of Daytona Beach and said, hey, this museum belongs in Daytona where it can be seen. They agreed. They showed us a few buildings, and then they showed us the Cornelia Young Library, which is in Peninsula Road. And I said, well, we'll take it. Took a lot to get it set up, but I'll read a quick statement that it says here that he had given us, which was Veterans Museum and Education Center is organized and dedicated to pay tribute to those persons who served in the armed forces of the United States and whose service and sacrifice have allowed us to live in a free country. So that's what he wanted to dedicate to that.
So, are there any World War One veterans still alive?
No, that I know of, I don't think there are any. We're losing World War
War
II.
Two is becoming very scarce.
We're
Because
losing them unbelievably, and you know what? We're losing a lot of Korean War veterans. I belong to a Korean War veteran group in Daytona, and when I first started, the meetings had about 50, 60 people. Now they have maybe 20.
Well, when we started this business, there was a lot of veterans that would come to our sales. We met a lot of people. In fact, Dr. Wubba is a customer of ours too.
He's a good man.
Yes, absolutely. And so, as the years have gone by, very few. I can't think of anybody who was World War II, but yes, Korea and Vietnam now we definitely see. And
The Korean,
Desert Storm.
yes, the Korean War veterans are now hitting their 90s. Vietnam veterans are hitting their mid 80s now. So we're going to start losing them pretty soon, too.
Before I forget, so what's the exact address of the museum?
The museum is at 302 Vermont Avenue in Daytona Beach. The zip code is 32118. And we are right on the corner of Peninsula Avenue. And let me see, I don't happen to have, we have a big monument right in the corner there.
Yeah, you'll see it. I mean, it's there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And do you have a website?
We do. It's the initials of the museum. So it's vmaec.org.
And I've perused it quite a bit, and I was very impressed with your lineup of speakers. You do monthly.
We do a month. The first Tuesday of each month, we have a board meeting in the early afternoon, and then at 4:00 we have speakers, and we have had a good lineup of speakers for the past few years.
4 o'clock. That's interesting. That's a good time actually to
Yeah,
do
it's a good-
something in the afternoon.
Yeah, and
Marcus has said.
let me remind everyone that the museum is open free of charge. I refuse at this point. I have always refused to charge any admittance fee, and what we
I'm sure people donate, though.
well, and that's what we live on. We live on the donations and membership, because when you become a member, that's what helps to keep us alive.
Hmm. And what is the membership? What does that get you?
Well, the membership gets you, of course, and it's no free admission, but it gets you our newsletter and it
Hmm.
gets you to our website, and we always pay special attention if you want to have a group
Hmm.
visit. We give
I
them
like
special
that.
tours and those kind of items, and we give them a pin and a coin, and well, we're running out of the coins, but we try to give them as much attention as we possibly can. It's $25 a year, so it's nothing crazy,
Hmm.
and I believe it's $200 for a lifetime membership. That's what keeps us going.
So I saw you had a notice here, and I think it's important to let people know that now, on occasion, we get items here in the shop that, you know, that we sell, you know, for our business, for our clients, and then there's a lot of people that want to donate all the time to you, and I know that you're like overflowing with stuff. So I saw that you have a notice here, and I thought maybe you want to mention it just so people, because I know there's probably people right now listening that'll say, oh, we got stuff we want to bring to them. So how are you doing on donations of items?
Well, donation of items we get almost daily. I did put out a notice on our website that at the moment we are not taking any more articles of donation. However, if there's something that's outstanding and it's really interesting that we want to put on our floor, we'll consider that and do it on a one-to-one basis. But if anyone brings anything in, we're not going to refuse it. We just didn't want to encourage people to flock in
Sure.
and bring us all kinds of stuff.
So on that note, being that we're talking about artifacts, and you know my favorite part of the show, right? And I think we were ahead of schedule here a little bit.
No, we're on time.
We're on time. Uh, so if I may, I would like to start the show and tell. And show and tell is my favorite part of the show. I know people like it, but as a kid, we went to school. Teacher said bring something in, and even if you didn't like the other kid, you'd still want to watch what they had to show you because it was interesting. So we do our own version of show and tell. And if I may start with just a couple of small items that I have. So this here, I mean, okay, from World War I through all the way up to probably even today. But back in the day, this is a John Player and Sons cigarette box. Okay, so this is John Player. And John Player is a very famous company in England. This is the tobacco company. You probably would have seen them, on liquor commercials or definitely the F1 racing circuit. John Player had plenty of those. So this is a very small box. I mean, if you look at the size, it's very small, and this is what they would issue, I guess, to the work, to the soldiers, so they could smoke, to relax. Right, smoking is not healthy for you. So, anyway, and then this is from the USS Alabama. It's a cup, a commemorative cup. It talks about the Kingfisher boats, the 16-inch guns, the main deck and aft guns, and a few other items here. So I'm
It's
just going
very
to hold this
different,
up.
obviously.
It's made of wood on the outside.
Well, so I don't
It's
know
like
if
a
you should
balsa.
actually drink out of it, but we do have a pair of them. Probably be good to put pens and office items and things on your desk, or just to display.
Well, it's amber glass.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean, you could drink out of it,
Very
but I
different.
wouldn't want to ruin it. It's pretty nice. Someone spent the time to make it. Okay, and then before we get to your stuff, because you've got some interesting two items here that are just absolutely interesting. I want to talk about these books, Diana. 'Cause
Oh, you did find the key. Okay. Well,
yes,
I had to
so
leave when you were.
so
So these books are somewhat fragile, and they are at the gallery. They are in a break front with a lock and key, so that you do have to ask for assistance. But we do have some very interesting books.
this book is not. It doesn't have anything to do in reality with our veterans. But I want to show you a mark on the back of this book. This is from the Moon mission of 1969, which has nothing to do with that. But I want to show you this mark. If you could see it,
Well, we're soon going to have, we have our
Do you see
space.
that little dot in there somehow? Okay. So this is a book that comes in series. Am I saying this right, Diana? This is how you know it's a book that you buy, a subscription book.
Like the
So
Reader's Digest.
like a
You
you know
get a
like right.
monthly
So if you go out and
subscription.
you start to look for, let's say for example, books that were written for World War II, and they might have been a group of books, and they were purchased in a book club. This little dot right here, or sometimes within the cover, also it gives you some information. So I'm not a book guy. I don't know a lot about them, but
Well, thank you, Taylor. Taylor gave us that
yes, you did.
lines.
So some of the books that we have in the shop, and I don't think this one is one of those. This is the 19th Regiment of Massachusetts Volunteers, volume. I think this is the only volume of it. So this book here is in our shop. Um,
So that's a listing of soldiers with their.
I think it's stories
Oh, I
is
see.
what it is, and what went on during that time. History of World War One and World War Two aviation.
Mm,
Right? World War
very
One
specified.
aviation. Was there actually, how they even flew at all is amazing. This is just a book, and also it has the battles. You know,
Yeah, that is a good book, and
yeah,
it's linen bound.
yes, yeah, Lindenbaum,
Hmm.
and I got two more, and then we'll move on. So another book that's in our shop, The Resort to War. Is that good? Well, back more.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so in essence, we have a lot of detail of books that you could find. And we don't always have a lot of memorabilia, but books are
Well,
always coming in.
military items tend to sell fast. I mean, we have all kinds of the pins, medals, um, hats. We have some uniforms.
So this was a book club also. This one has that little dot on the back of it. So this way, like if you wanted to find books that were sold right after the war, especially in the 50s, where they glorified the soldiers quite a bit. There were a lot of book clubs because that's what they wanted children to read. Back then, they actually read books. Anyway, so that was what I wanted to show you. Wanted to bring that in. It's different, and we have those books in our shop,
Yes.
under lock and key, by the way.
Yeah. But you should definitely open up the
The Foot Locker.
Foot Locker.
Well, before we go to the Foot Locker, let's talk about what Jose bought. These are unbelievable. So Jose, before I go to the Kaiser hat, tell us about this one here.
Okay, this is a helmet from Vietnam. Of course, there were metal helmets, and they have a cover over them so they won't shine or anything like that. And this particular soldier happened to write all kinds of items on it, and that is on display in the museum in our Vietnam section.
It says hippies or junkies.
Well, remember, the hippies were, by the soldiers, considered that they were draft dodgers. So that's kind of their
And
slang.
it does say Coors is the only beer. Just so this
Yeah,
is-
but I think what's most important is on the front of it, it has this girlfriend. It says, Sherry, I'll be coming home, Phoenix, Arizona. It's
and,
Very interesting helmet that they write all of this. And of course, at the museum, we have a lot of trench art. And this is stuff that soldiers used to do while they're waiting to go on a mission or they're waiting.
trench art. That's right.
Yeah.
We've had that before.
we
had
saw
that.
some beautiful lamps that were the casings of the.
I want to point out one thing though. This helmet, your pot on your stove is thicker than this helmet, and these men had to protect us with such inferior items. Back in the day, it was probably the most state of the art helmet you can get.
Yes.
but very sad when you think about it because the injuries that they would have sustained. Okay, the next one's really interesting. Tell us about this. This is a World War I Kaiser hat.
That's a World War One Kaiser parade helmet. Basically, it was used to for show. It is a metal uh, helmet, leather bound.
Mhm.
So it has leather on top of it. It's very, very beautiful. It is a German World War One
The
helmet.
brass work is stunning, and
Yes, it is.
it's in good condition
It's
too.
an unbelievable.
Very impressive when they're marching. You can imagine the amount of people wearing that, and it looks very impressive.
So did you have anything else to show us besides this right now?
Well, actually, I do not. I did not bring any more items.
Well, we have a trunk here that is loaded. So this weekend's estate sale is on 9 Lakeview Place East in the little community called Lakeside. It's off of Bird of Paradise in Palm Coast. And it is chock full of, the name of the sale is Vermont Antiques. And because that's where they were from, and they brought a lot of that yellow pine pieces as really what's getting a lot of attention. Well, as we get through the house, we start um, going through the house. We found in the garage, it was like sort of a late entry, was his Foot Locker, and this is from when he had it enlisted in the 60s. And so this is the tray of the Foot Locker, and then these are some of the smaller items. So we have an army hat. We have an army canteen. Sort of your, well,
Make sure you show it to the camera.
oh yeah, here we go. So it has your knife, fork, your spoon. So this was it. Only one thing to wash, right? I remember as a kid, we used to play army, and our
I used to have
parents
one
had a trunk full of this, and we used to put on all this gear and and go up to the rocks in the woods and play army and take an old piece of wood and cut it up like it was chicken. I mean, I just
So
remember this.
That's personal and interesting. I don't know what it says.
Well, okay, so it is a little journal, and it says the ultimate weapon. And when you look inside, it actually is handwritten notes of where to keep your shoes under the bed, how to string your shoes, everything you were supposed to do as a good soldier. He actually has notes of this. It's really incredible. Um, they also talk about personal hygiene, wash your hair twice, shower daily. I mean, how you're supposed to polish your items.
well,
So it's really, and it's all handwritten. It's very
being
interesting.
a
Something he made.
being a Foot Locker was probably in their basic, and if they didn't remember what they needed to do, so he probably
You
took
get
notes.
into merit, right?
Oh boy, you get yelled at.
What is it?
I'm going to tell you.
These are they look like spikes for
The
for
tent.
a tent.
Yeah, that was his setup. So if they had to go out, you would set your tent up with those spikes. And we were just talking about trench art. Here is he hand whittled this boat, and we've sold wooden pieces. I've had matchstick
That's actually a beautiful piece.
art. Yeah,
That-
very well done.
yeah, a lot of detail.
We've had the what is it? What are those called? The brass. You would shoot them missiles, I guess. There was the brass casings
Yeah, yeah,
that they would
yeah. The
carve
shells.
and turn into. We've had them turned into lamps. We've had them as vases.
Yes. As a matter of
Very,
fact,
very popular.
Diana, at the museum, I have a display of a chaplain who took many, many shells and many.
Come back with that.
And it was all he did it all to serve communion. He did little cups out of the shells.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, beautiful display that
Probably
we
in
have
the
there.
Philippines somewhere. Or something.
Ammo can.
Yes,
Yes, that is an ammo.
it's an ammo case.
Mhm.
Let me get to the rest of this real quick. Getting down to the bottom. Oh, wow, look at that. Very
Look,
well
I look,
kept.
Is that polished?
uh,
Yeah.
over 50 years ago, when we opened this chest, we asked him, and he says, "I haven't looked at this in 50 years. I came home, packed it, and that was that." So at the sale, that we have more items. I didn't bring all of it, but
Right.
there is a full uniform there. We have some other uniforms. That is his MP helmet.
And it looks like he was an
Wow.
MP.
So he was an MP. Imagine that. Military police, right?
Military police.
Hmm.
And he was at the 26th. What is that?
26
Army Division.
Regiment.
Well, okay, regiment. Okay. Yeah, and all of these insignias and stuff that you guys
They all,
follow. I mean,
they
it's
all
amazing
mean
how you guys
something.
know what
Yeah,
these
they
are.
all mean
You know.
something, yes.
So, and then one
I want,
last thing.
I
and
want
then
to
we
tell you
gotta wrap
just a
up.
quick little story. I did a sale in Daytona Beach, not far from Beach Street, and the garage. I really took it for the garage because he built dune buggies and had the walls of the garage was all kinds of art things, ceiling, everything. So we sell a piece of artwork off the wall, and when we remove it, there was a hand grenade strapped to the wall. Well, Greg and I, we didn't know what to do. We're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, you know what? It's probably been there for the last 50 years. Let's just put something in front of it. Let's finish the sale. I don't want to call the bomb squad right now. we, we need to we need to get through this sale.
Yeah.
But we found out, what is it when the pin, even though the pin it has been pulled out, if it has a yellow mark on it, it's
It's dead.
considered dead.
It's dead, yes.
So, but for us novices, we didn't really know what we were dealing
I'd
with.
still be
So
concerned either way. But
it was a
so
little scary.
Diana, it's time that we finalize up here. And Jose, tell us one more time uh, who you are, and where your museum is.
Well, I am the president of the museum. I am also a 100% disabled vet from my two wars that I served in. And we are at Daytona Beach, 302 Vermont Avenue, Daytona Beach, right in the corner of Peninsula. It's a beautiful museum. We have the entire building that the city gave us, and it's all full of stuff. Interesting, very interesting.
And the phone number one more time.
The phone number is 386-756-7909.
And the website.
And the website is the Veterans Museum and Education Center letters. So it's vmaec.org.
Well, Jose, thank you so much.
We so appreciate you coming
Yes.
and
Thank
bringing
you for
some
having me.
wonderful items. And we'll be sure. I'll be bringing the crew down there. We'll check it all out. It'll be a lot of fun.
It'll be great. And again, thank you for your service, and thank you for what you do for all of our veterans, living or past. Okay, thank you so much. All right,
Thank you for
Diana,
having
it's
me.
your turn to take us out.
So, well, in conclusion, the estate sale Green Mountain Vermont Antiques is going to go on this week and probably through next week. We need to get out of there. The house is sold. We have a closing date, so we'll be working real hard on that. At the gallery, we're running the Memorial Day sale. We extended it. We're running it through the end of the month. So new arrival items have a yellow dot. They're 25% off. Much as 50, and then 75% off have blue dots for clearance. Got to keep moving things out. New arrivals, we have an Art Nouveau table with carved nudes, which is really stunning. I would love to sell that. And we also have a black lacquer Chinese piece, and the cylinder desk, that mahogany cylinder desk, is one of my favorites. The Veterans Museum, your next speaker is June 3rd.
June 3rd,
At
yes.
4 o'clock. And then the Flagler County Historical Society, the Bunnell History Day, is June 7th. And then the next Estate Planning Council meeting is June 19th. And that'll be, we'll be discussing senior housing trends. We'll have a real estate appraiser and a realtor. So
And where will that be?
that is going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn on 100 in Palm Coast. So that's about it. That's all I got for you
Right.
today.
www.
Here's my pin.
DianaFineArt.com.
I have my brooch. I'm wearing my flag. I'm in my red, white, and blue. Perry, I'm glad you.
I got my I got my support my veterans on. It's great.
All
God bless
right.
America, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
All right, bye. Thank you, Jose.
Bye bye.